All right, let's tackle a frustration I think we've all felt. Why does that brand new super fast computer you bought eventually feel like it's just wading through mud? I'm here to tell you it's not in your head, and it's definitely not some random glitch. Nope, there are actual, concrete reasons this happens, and we're going to break them all down.
I mean, just think back to that first day, right? You pull it out of the box, you hit that power button, and everything is just instant. Apps just snap open. Websites load in the blink of an eye. It feels so powerful, so efficient, like it's ready for anything you can throw at it.
But then you fast forward a year, maybe two, and yeah, that feeling is long gone. Now you click an icon and you wait. You try to switch tasks, and there it is, the dreaded spinning wheel. That instant and smooth feeling has been totally replaced by lagging and slow. And you know the most frustrating part is that on the surface, nothing actually seems broken. So what is really going on under the hood?
Well, the answer isn't some big, single catastrophic failure. It's actually something way more subtle. We call it the accumulation effect. See, your computer isn't breaking down. It's being bogged down. It's like a death by 1,000 tiny cuts. And that is the real reason for the slowdown you're feeling.
This whole process has a name: performance decay. And it's not random at all. In fact, it's a totally predictable result of tons of small, seemingly harmless things just building up. Think of it like this. Each little thing is a tiny weight. By itself, no big deal. But over time, all those tiny weights add up to become this huge, heavy anchor on your system's performance. In this process, it's a slow creep. It really is. It starts small, A few extra programs decide to run in the background. Then your storage drive starts collecting some temporary files. A new software update comes along that needs just a little more memory. On their own, none of these are a big problem. But you can see how it happens. Together, they create this massive traffic jam inside your machine, and that leads to the slowdown that we all know and, well, that we all hate.
Okay, so let's meet the actual culprits behind all this decay. First up, we've got the resource thieves. These are all the active programs and processes that are constantly running in the background, just silently stealing your computer's precious power. Just take a look at how your computer's memory, its RAM, is actually being used. You'd think the app you're working on gets most of it, right? Wrong. It might only be getting a tiny fraction. The rest of that RAM is being devoured by update services, system processes, and all sorts of other hidden tasks. They're all in there, fighting for the same, very limited resources.
So what exactly are they stealing? Well, it's not just one thing. They're eating up CPU time. That makes every single operation take longer. They're hogging all the RAM, leaving way less for the program you actually want to use. And all of this directly hits your system's responsiveness, which is why your whole computer starts to feel so sluggish and hesitant.
All right, let's move on to our second culprit, digital clutter. Now, unlike the thieves, these aren't active processes. Nope, this is all the passive junk that just accumulates over time. Think of it like gunk clogging up the digital arteries of your system.
And this visual says it all, really. The amount of useful stuff on your computer, your documents, your photos, that amount often stays pretty consistent. But just look at the clutter. Temporary files, old caches, leftover junk from programs you uninstalled ages ago. It just grows and grows and grows. It fills up your storage and forces the system to work way harder just to find the things it actually needs.
And here's another kind of clutter that's a huge one: startup programs. Look, on day one, maybe you have a handful of essential things that launch when you boot up. But a year later, after installing a bunch of different apps, that number can easily skyrocket to over 20. And every single one of those adds precious seconds to your boot time and starts eating up resources from the very first minute your computer is even on. Okay, and finally, there's a third culprit. And this one is completely out of your control. I like to call it the shifting goalposts. Because this isn't about what's happening inside your machine. It's about the constantly changing world of software outside of it.
This quote just captures the idea perfectly. The computer isn't weaker, the workload is heavier. Think about that. Your hardware, it hasn't physically degraded. A processor from 3 years ago is just as powerful as it was on day one. But the demands we're placing on it have become so much greater. And right there, that's the fundamental mismatch. Your hardware is static. It is what it is. Right? But software, it's constantly evolving. Apps and operating systems get updated with new features, more complex code, and all of that requires more processing power and more memory than the versions before them. So your once powerful hardware is now basically just struggling to keep up with today's massive demands.
Now, I know what you might be thinking, but wait, restarting my computer makes it faster. And you're absolutely right. It does, for a little while. See, restarting clears out the active memory, and it shuts down all those resource thieves for a moment. But it doesn't get rid of the root of the problem, all that digital junk and the ever heavier software. It's really just a temporary fix for the symptoms. It's not a cure for the actual condition. So, to wrap it all up, the slowdown you're experiencing is basically a three-pronged attack. You've got the resource thieves, which are actively stealing power. You've got the digital clutter, passively clogging up the whole system. And then you have the shifting goalposts, software that just keeps demanding more and more, continuously outpacing your hardware.
So the next time your computer feels slow, just remember, it's not failing you. It's not its fault. It's just the natural result of all this digital accumulation and evolution. And honestly, understanding the why behind it all, that's the most important first step. It helps you shift the question from, oh, why is my computer so slow, to, okay, what small habits can I change to keep it running smoothly? And trust me, that is a much, much more powerful question to ask.